He's not technically a real person, but 76 has IQ? Why'd that make me feel worse about myself? He accomplished so much shit.
Right.
What is my IQ? 40? That's terrible. Also, you guys are a weird crowd. I'm gonna say right now. Because he said the domestic abuse thing, and you guys were like, and then he said it was his dog, and you were like, hey, nobody hits a dog, but a lady. Weird, doesn't track. You guys ready for your next comic? Thanks so much. Come and say your next. Very funny. Mary, you.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming out and risking your life for comedy. Colin, sex work is real work.
Yeah.
That being said, I have 19-year-old twin boys, and if they were out sucking dicks on Santa Monica Boulevard, I would kill them. They would be dead. Okay. So as you heard, I have 19-year-old twin boys. I am a lesbian. That makes me a lesbian empty nester. Now before that, I was a lesbian soccer mom, and before that, I was happy. So it's all very different. You know, and I'm like a really great example of why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I mean, would you look at me and think, oh, there's a lady who had 2 dicks in her for 9 months. Top that, bitches. I know, it's a little gross, isn't it? But I like a groaner. I'm really happy with a groaner. So, you know, the other thing, like, I'm kind of new to comedy, but I try and go to a lot of shows. So that gives me the opportunity to interact with a lot of young people, you know, a lot of Gen Zers. And Gen Zers have some super interesting ideas about parenting. You know, like this one guy gets up, I don't know, like Bobby Buttplug or whatever his name is. And he's like, you know, when I have kids, you're going to do all the housework, and you're going to do the laundry, and you're going to wash the clothes and the dishes. And I'm usually sitting in the back thinking, oh yeah, that's exactly how kids work, you know? Like, let me just explain. Like, take the worst, most psychopathic roommate you ever had. Like, whether in college or after you moved out of college, and multiply that exponentially, and you might just get close to how shitty it is to have a kid in your house. Okay? Like, they don't clean shit. They do not pay for shit. And they expect you to feed them every day. Okay? I mean, what kind of a roommate is that, right? And then let's just say, okay, Mr. Sociopath, you're able to beat your children into submission and get them to do all of these things for you, right? It would still be the most profoundly stupid financial decision you ever made in your life. Because I have a cleaning lady. I pay her to clean my house. But I never had to send her to lacrosse camp in Delaware, you know? So the numbers don't fucking add up, okay? Now, the second thing that will often happen to me at one of these comedy shows is one of these darling young women will come up to me and be like, oh my God, you have twins? You're so lucky. That's exactly what I want. And I'm usually thinking, oh my God, what a dumb bitch, you know? Like, let me just, you know, again, like having twins is like combing your hair with firecrackers. Like something is always fucking on fire in your house, you know? And I don't want to get dark here, but, you know, having twins leads to increased maternal depression, increased divorce rates, more birth defects. And twins are one of the leading causes of fruit roll-up tits. So you may want to rethink your plans, Octomom. You know, you may want to rethink those IVF plans. You know, and the other thing is, it's not like you can take them back. It's not like the pound. You know, you can't like, you know, bring them back to the maternity ward, like holding their hands and say, hey, you know what? Could you rehome these two? I kind of overestimated my ability to tolerate wiping shit all day long. You know, with a big field they could run around, you know? That doesn't fly. And, you know, your friends would really judge you, don't you think? Can you imagine? Anyway, I'm a sick woman. So the other thing that's sort of interesting is that, you know, actually my partner and I have been together for 28 years. So if you could believe somebody put up with this shit for 28 years, I mean, I think there's a Nobel Peace Prize in it for her somewhere. But, you know, and if you ever met her, I mean, she's over there, if you ever met her, she's like the nicest person in the world. Like, Susan does not have a mean bone in her body, which is weird because I am entirely made up of mean bones. Like from head to toe, I'm just like snarky scaffolding. But the thing that happened was that very early on in our relationship, Susan found out what she was in for. Like when we first got together, we thought, okay, we're going to take a romantic vacation, little weekend getaway up to San Francisco because we are basic lesbians. And San Francisco is kind of like the lesbian Las Vegas. You know, you just jump in your car and go, and there's good food and fun things to do. So we did that, and we were like walking, and it's like this really rainy day in Chinatown. And we find this like hardcore like Chinese noodle house. Here's a little life hack. If you're looking for Chinese food, look for the place with the Chinese people in it, okay? I don't know how to break this to you, but Panda Express is garbage, okay? Don't eat that shit, okay? So anyway, we're in there. Oh, I forgot to mention. My partner is also all coffee, no cream. You know what I mean? She has like 2 NPR tote bags, okay? She is a very Anglo person. She's white. So we sit down, and I'm Asian, Japanese. We sit down, and so she orders this like giant bowl of like steaming hot dumpling soup, and they gave her those chopsticks, you know, the ones without the traction, you know, the big slippery ones. Have you guys ever gotten those? And I'm like sitting there, and I notice like after a couple of minutes, like she's getting very little food into her mouth, and I'm like, dinner and a show. Cool. So, she's trying to eat, and the bok choy's flying across the table, and the dumplings are splashing back into the soup. And, I didn't want to laugh in her face or anything because I was hoping for a ride home back to Los Angeles. So anyway, finally, I took pity on her, and I called over, the waitress. I'm like, Miss, could you come over here, please? I think Whitey Butler needs a fork. And that is a 100% true story. So she knew what she was in for from the beginning. She knew what a bitch I was. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for coming out. That's my time.